Abhijit, please. This is going from crazy to ridiculous here. Abhijit.
Good evening, Arnab. Good evening, everybody. Look, Canada is turning into the Western version of Pakistan. India has been providing dossier after dossier to Canada, just like we have been doing with Pakistan. There are more than 26 extradition requests that are pending. Extradition requests for Canadian-based terrorists. And we have sent these requests to Canada. This is spanning more than a decade. And they have done nothing about this. They have taken no action about this. And they are resorting to lying about all these matters. For example, yesterday, Trudeau testified that drive-by shootings and home invasions and even murders across Canada are allegedly tied to highest levels within the Indian government. This is absurd. This is crazy. I mean, the Trudeau experiment has failed. The Khalistan experiment has failed. And this is going to cause real-world repercussions for Canada. India has already said that it may no longer be interested in buying the Canadian-produced Stryker armored vehicles and so much more. So Justin Trudeau is an embarrassment for his country. He is lying outright, and he is presenting no evidence whatsoever. And a claim that is made without evidence can be dismissed with contempt without evidence.
No, this has no legal basis. You see, this way, if every person were to come out and say against everyone, we have intel, then everybody has intel on everybody. It's not admissible in a court of law. And just like there are no valid rumors, there is nothing called credible allegations. There can be credible evidence. You can't have credible allegations. It's like saying there are valid rumors. Daniel, what's going on there? What has he done yesterday?
Well, I mean, Trudeau has, sort of verified the entire Indian narrative. Now, internally in Canada, you should know that even though there's like a 10.5-hour time difference, so even though India might be in the future, you're actually kind of in the past on Trudeau. We're like 2.5 Trudeau scandals ahead of you right now. Okay. So yes, he destroyed our relationship with India, but that was Tuesday. We're on Thursday now, and the big scandal is the fact that there's 11 traitors in the parliament. Which always was, and Trudeau seems to be protecting them. And then he tried to use the Foreign Interference Commission hearing, which was sent against them. Right? Remember, he used India mostly to try and create a rally to the flag moment, and the Conservatives came and supported it. But then he ruined his rally to the flag moment by using the Foreign Interference Commission, which was investigating him and his party's foreign interference, by trying to blame the official opposition, which hasn't been in power in 10 years, and then ruined his rally to the flag moment by attacking the Conservatives. And this is now blown up in his face, where everyone just wants him to release the names. So that's our big scandal. And yes, we have Panun on TV. Yeah, we have the fact that, we didn't have hard evidence. We had intel. But just so you know, in Canada, we're 2.5 Trudeaus away from you. Plus, Yara Sinwar, the leader of Hamas, has died. So our foreign policy is going to stand with Israel today. And then tomorrow, they're going to start attacking Israel, because we do this to our allies now. So that will be the foreign policy focus in Canada going forward. We're going to lose this in a momentum of Trudeau scandals and horrible foreign policy decisions. But to get back to it, the problem here between the two sides seems to be there are two issues at play here. One issue that's getting a lot of play in Canada, the issue that Canada is focusing on is, did they or did they not? Did the Indian government have a hand in this? Did they not? And that's a conversation. Now, there's another conversation that needs to be had, which is sort of the core of this issue, which is, should they or should they not, right? Is Hardeep Singh Nijjar a viable target for extrajudicial assassination? And that is a question that is much more complicated, because the real issue is violent Khalistani separatism being promoted on Canadian soil. You can make the argument that he was running terrorist training camps. He had Gurdwaras that were, openly praising suicide bombing. A member of the Khalistan Tiger Force, which logo has a lion in it because it's Khalistan and everything they do is stupid. And then you could say, okay, we tried to extradite him and now we knocked him off. The problem is when we merge these two things together, Canada starts to use this as evidence, right? Because all Canada is talking about is, did they or did they not, right? The entire mainstream media only pushes out Trudeau's narrative. So there's a reason why Panun can come on TV, because they're never going to say, here's Panun, a man who constantly threatens to murder all the Hindus in Canada and wants to commit an October 7th-like terrorist attack in India. Here he is to say, no, here's a Sikh activist, lawyer, friend of puppies and kittens, whatever. And then we just focus on did they or did they not. And when India starts to say, okay, well, there's actually underlying terrorism aspects to this here, where maybe we should have. The Canadian government is now using that as evidence of, look, they did, right? You see that in Trudeau's response when he says, oh, when they said immediately, show us what evidence you have, right? To Canadians, it could seem like that's an omission of guilt, but if you understand both sides of the story, what the Indian government is actually worried about here is what is the level of infiltration of Khalistanis into these security apparatuses.
We are.
So, of course, we're not going to let your institutions, which we think are corrupted by Khalistanis, into our institutions to poke around.
No, we
right?
don't.
That's
We don't want
where
to
we have
interfere in Canada's internal affairs. But the way that things are going, Daniel, we have genuine concern about Canada becoming a base for global terrorism, and I think Canadians should be concerned too, because once you go down that road, there's no looking back. And if today it's the Khalistani terrorists, and there is an ISI Islamist angle also, then there'll be a jihadist, Khalistani, Islamist angle, and allow me to complete. You see, I'll tell you what.
Show me the evidence.
Anis, I'll tell you. Please have a look at, please, Anis.
What is this ISI phobia?
Why are you jumping? You're not a member of the ISI?
Listen, it was.
I am not, but I'm trying to understand, like, as a Canadian, where is this, in this equation, what is ISI doing? What is Pakistan
Daniel.
doing?
We had that just come out in the hearing. We just had that evidence presented. Our security apparatuses just said Khalistan is a project by the ISI being pushed in Canada to undermine India. That was just said in this hearing.